Hey everybody, we're going to take a look at Donruss's 1989 Traded Edition. They put out a Donruss the Rookies set for a number of years. This was the first time they ever put out a Traded Edition, so it included obviously players who changed teams by trade, I think also by free agency. This was a new thing for them. I have never seen these cards before. I have never opened one of these sets before. We're going to do it together live. I only just noticed since I brought this up that there's a piece of tape on here. If you can see, there's something that looks like Scotch tape right there. So I don't know if this is not factory sealed or what. I mean, I'm guessing it's not, because why would it be taped? And I can't imagine that that tape is how it came factory sealed. So, you know, we'll take a look. We'll see what we see, and we will go from there. I am breaking the Scotch tape. If I can actually even find it. There we go. Boy, this is not easy to get into. I don't know if the cards inside are like, there we go, if they're wrapped in a sleeve or not wrapped in a sleeve. And I don't know if they're supposed to be. So again, we're gonna find out together. All right, so they're not in a sleeve. There is a card right here that is stuck to the tape. And that card is a checklist. We'll put this off in the back. So here's what the packet looks like. I'm gonna not hold these all while I do it. I'll show them one at a time. And we'll go with the first card here. So first card is checklist. It says it's card number 56. And it has the list of all the players we can hope to find here. Bring this light around a little bit. All right, next up is puzzle. And this is interesting because it's the Stan Musial puzzle, which was the puzzle from this set. But as you can see, it's got 12 pieces. So many fewer pieces than are in the actual puzzle. And these pieces are about the same size as the pieces were in the original set. But obviously this is much smaller. Cool. All right, let me see now. I don't know what order these cards are in, but again, we're going to learn together. Here's Eddie Williams, future White Sox general manager, came over from the Indians, and you can see there's a red ink on there, contract status and how he was acquired. Yeah. Interesting. This is card T29. So again, I don't know what order these cards are in. Here's Mike Devereaux. Now, I don't think he was traded. I think this is probably just a rookie card. No, he was. He came over from the Dodgers. I forgot. Totally forgot that he made his debut with the Dodgers. I only remember him as an Oriole from the beginning of his career. T30. So, there you go. I'm not going to look at the back of every card, but we will get there by the by. The great Julio Franco. Jim Clancy. It's a horrible photo for FELIX Fermin. Cue Frank Sinatra.
Me and my shadow.
Interesting. Curtis Wilkerson. He came over in that trade that involved Sammy Sosa, right? Oh no, I forgot there's a couple. No, Sammy Sosa came over from the White Sox, right? There's a few trades around that time. The White Sox and Rangers made a trade. This is the trade that involved Mitch Williams, Jamie Moyer. You can see right there. Rafael Palmeiro being the really notable player. All right. Hall of Famer Bert Blyleven. Eric King. That's 37. Here's the aforementioned Mitch Williams. I guess we're going to see all those guys who were in that trade in this set. Maybe if they're major leaguers at least, because there's Jamie Moyer. He's, I think he was only about 53 in this photo. Still pretty young. Rick Rhoden. Phil Bradley came over from the Phillies. Paul Kilgus, he was in that same trade. Milt Thompson, he came over from the Phillies too.
Hello, Governor.
Jerry Brown. One of the things that I find really cool about these cards is, you know, they look obviously just like the base set from 1989. The coloring's even the same, but, you know, they're obviously not cards that are pulled out of packs because they only come in this pack right here. I think that's just really, it's just really cool. It's sort of like found, you know, newfound old stuff that ticks the nostalgia button, but it's the first time you've ever seen it. So it's like a special kind of nostalgia. So Bruce Hurst came over from the Red Sox. Later would go on to the, look at his middle name, V. That's cool. Later go on to the Rockies. Late Claudel Washington. Let me try that again. The late Claudel, oh my God. The late Claudel Washington. I called him Claudel twice, which is, I don't even know what that name is. It's Todd Benzinger. Came over from the Red Sox. Trade for Jeff Sellers, Rob Murphy, Nick Asaski. Hello to Bye Bye Balboni. Came over from the Mariners. Yeah, he's at the Royals and he got traded mid-season to the Mariners. This guy has the most Shakespearean name of all. I feel like it's like, oh, to be McDowell. Like, oh, to be a wealthy prince. I don't know. Oh, to be McDowell. There's Charlie Hudson. I have kind of an amazing story about Charlie Hudson that I'll have to tell one day. After his playing career, he actually was a substitute gym teacher at my high school once, which is kind of cool. Ron Kittle came over from the Yankees. No, he's with the Indians. White Sox, yeah. White Sox, then the Yankees, then the Indians, now back to the White Sox. Andy Hawkins. Could use a little more light on his face, but pretty nice card. Tom Brookins. Tom Niedenfuhr. I don't know about you, but I'm needing more, not fewer. So it does include free agents because it says he was signed as a free agent after playing out his option with the Orioles. Cool. Jeff Parrott. He came over from the Expos. There was Floyd Yeomans, was that deal? And later he went to the Braves in the Dale Murphy trade. Yeah, Floyd Yeomans Came over with Floyd Youmans for Kevin Gross. Yep. Here's a great one. Hall of Famer Nolan Ryan, of course, came over from the Astros. Signed as a free agent. Jeff Leonard. It's kind of a cool uniform. It looks kind of retro, even though it wasn't retro for the time. Jack Clark was with the Yankees. Yeah, traded with Pat Clements, Lance McCullers, Jimmy Jones, Stanley Jefferson. Kevin Gross, who we already heard about.
Kevin!
Tom Herr was with the Twins. Sorry, Cardinals for a long time, then the Twins briefly. Bob Boone had been with the Angels and, of course, the Phillies before that and others. Rafael Palmeira, look how young and thin he looks. I'm not here to talk about the past, though. John Dobson. T7. Willie Randolph. And somebody's glove. Sorry, Willie, you deserve better than hitting the ground. Chris Brown, I believe is deceased. Look how crooked the back of this card is. Can you tell? If you just look at the top here. Look at the gap above the where it says John and then above Brown. How stilted that is. Really, really crooked card. Maybe it's easier to see this way. A little bit easier to see. I don't know. Wally Backman with the Twins. Steve Ontiveros. Fun fact, there have been 2 Major League pitchers named Steve Ontiveros. Same name, not related. Crazy. Hall of Famer Eddie Murray. Just the one hat because he's in the field. Here's Lance McCullers, who was already mentioned in the Steve Balboni trade.
Spike.
Spike Owen. Rob Murphy, who was already mentioned in the Todd Benzinger deal. Pete O'Brien. Okay, now what's the deal here? This is Ken Williams. This is the Ken Williams who came over from the White Sox. This is the future GM. Who did I mistake for that the first time around? It was like the very first card, wasn't it? Ah, Eddie Williams. I'm dumb. Ken Williams, of course, the future GM. Eddie Williams was a much more of a prospect, although he didn't really pan out. That was dumb. Nick Kasaski, mentioned already. He turned that. Nick Kasaski put in a big year with the Red Sox and turned that into a huge free agent contract with the Braves that he then never was able to play out because of vertigo, which ended his career. Sucks. Brian Holton. So of course there are no rookies in here. These are all major leaguers who got traded. Mike Moore had a really good long career. Good effective pitcher for a lot of years. Joel Skinner. Traded for he who shall not be named. Steve Sachs from the Dodgers. Free agent. Went off to the White Sox after this. Rick Mailer, sadly deceased, went on to be a pitching coach. He had some really good years and did some really cool things on the mound. I'll try to put up a couple notes here about that. Mike Galdretti. Jesse Orozco, also of course a long career. Dave LaPointe. And the last card is Walt Terrell. Underrated pitcher himself, had a really good career. Came over in the trade with the with the Tigers for Chris Brown and Keith Moreland. Now I never figured out what's the order. Jeffrey Leonard is 1 and Jack Clark was 2. I wonder if it has to do with the transaction dates. I'm gonna sort through the cards for a second, and I'll speed up the video as I just find Jeffrey Leonard and Jack Clark, and then let's look up Jeff Parrott and Tom Niedenfuhr. Let's see if we can figure out what's what. Okay. So we got cards 1 and 2 here. These are Jeff Leonard and card 1. Signed by the Mariners, a free agent, 12/8/88. You see Jack Clark was traded 10/24/88. So it doesn't seem to be date related. It's not team related. It's not name related. Here are the last 2 cards in the set. Jeff Parrott traded. Tom Niedenfuhr traded, both in December 88. I do not know. If anybody knows what the order is, let me know. I guess if it were dates, it'd be more obvious because players that were in the same trade would be grouped together, but they're not. So I do not know what determines the order. Please leave a comment below if you know what determines the order. That's it, folks. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it.